الرحيم. الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. Let's continue inshallah with the tafsir of Surat Al-Qasas. And last time we stopped with the beginning verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna fir'auna ala fil ard, that Fir'aun exalted on earth. The word earth here means Egypt. Okay? Al-ard means Egypt because he only ruled over Egypt. Not earth as in as an expansion of earth. And he did not transgress against anyone else except Bani Israel, the people who lived in Egypt. So when Allah uses the word ard, he's referring to what? Just one country, one specific country. قال إن فرعون علا في الأرض وجعل أهلها شيعا. And he made the people of it Shia. Shia means supporters of, groups. So the word Shia means group, a group of. That's why they call Shi'atu وَإِنَّ مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ لإبراهيم. Okay, from his Shia, meaning from his supporters. That's why we have, even in Islam, we have a group called what? The Shia, and they are the ones who claim that they support Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. So any group, any supporter to a group or to an individual, it is called Shi'atuhu, or his supporters. قال وجعل أهلها شيعا, into groups. And we're not supposed to be divided. The reason Fir'aun did this, subhanallah, this actually shows you that Fir'aun was not God. Why? Because if he was not afraid of people, why would he divide them? He divided them into groups. And then he based those groups based on social level, economic level, status. So the ones who are rich could oppress the poor. The ones who are from Egypt could oppress ones from Bani Israel, and so on. So if he was God and he had control over everything, why would he care if people are divided or if people are together? And most of the people in power, to control, they have to divide people. Anyone who runs politics, this is how politics is played, okay? For you to run power, you have to have groups. You cannot have everyone together, because as soon as you make a mistake, they're all gonna come against you. So he wants to make sure that this group is against this group, and they're fighting each other, and they have problems and conflicts and little conflicts. So Allah said, Inna Fir'aun exalted on earth, وَجَعَلْ أَهْلَهَا شِيعًا. And Rasulullah sallam, by the way, he said, this ummah will be divided into no. The hadith that the Jews and the Christians were divided into 70 and 71, and this ummah will be divided into 73 groups. All of them are in hellfire except one. So they said, who, Ya Rasulullah? He said, those who follow my sunnah and the sunnah of my sahaba. Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. Okay? So, and by the way, you have to differentiate between, can you hear? I can't hear myself. Wallahi, I can't. I think they lowered the volume. طيب. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, قال الله عز وجل إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء. Those who divide their religion. The first defect, or we could say the first disease that spread among this ummah was division. And when division starts, and you have to differentiate between two things, okay? Sects and groups. So for example, we have in Islam, we have sects, okay? We're not talking about sects right now. We're talking about sects. We're not talking about groups. So for example, you have brothers who are Tablighi brothers, for example. You have brothers who are Naqshbandi, that's different. These are sects. So you have to differentiate. Are you in a group? Like you have a certain ideology of Islam that you are practicing, or it is a sect with completely different pillars and ideology that is different. You have to be careful of that, okay? But anyway, Rasulullah said the ummah will be divided, and the ummah was divided. And the first division among the ummah started even at the time of the Sahaba, radwanullah alayhim, at the time of Uthman, radiallahu anhu, with all the fitna and how the groups were divided. Whenever you see division, whenever you see the people, that's why nowadays our biggest problem as Muslims, we are being divided based upon madhab, and the madhahib are not sects. The madhahib is different approach to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Hanafi is equal to Maliki, is equal to Shafi'i, is equal to Hanbali. It's just a different way of how do you get to Sacramento? How do you get to Sacramento? No, I'm not asking by what. Yeah, you have the 113, you have the 5, you have the 80, you have the 99. All roads gets you where? To Sacramento, but it's just different routes. Okay? Now, if I tell you going to Sacramento, you have to take 101. La, that's a sect. You get it? That's exactly how it is. So when you say, I'm a Hanafi, what are you? Oh, astaghfirullah, you're not a Hanafi? Why astaghfirullah? Why? Okay? Where do you put your hand in prayers? Do you put it here or here or here? Jazakallah khair. Just put it wherever. Do you pray witr 3 rak'ah, 2, 1, or 3 altogether, or 3? Do you make dua in witr before ruku' or after ruku'? It's just a different approach, different evidence that they had. The way they differ is because of the evidence that they got. Okay, based on those evidence, they made their decision. Like for example, the hadith of Aisha, I always give you that example to clarify, because this is very important. We do not want to be divided among each other because of madhahib. Okay, we are the same. In Egypt, the Maliki, the Malikis, there's like towns. The Malikis would not pray behind the Imam al-Shafi'i. Can you imagine that? We got to that level. طبعا now, alhamdulillah, people are more knowledgeable, but they would not pray. Why? Because, for example, a person touching their private part, even accidentally, like say you're showering. To the Maliki breaks wudu, to Shafi'i does not break wudu. So they tell you, how do we know that the Imam... You get it? What if he doesn't pray? This is a problem. They would not pray because the Maliki would place their hand next to them, and the Shafi'i would have their hand on their chest. So we're not going to pray behind someone. And I already told you, remember I told you that story before? I prayed in a place like that. The brother on my right side, he was Shafi'i. He was a Maliki. So when I put my hand, he kept pushing me. And wallah, I would never forget this. I witnessed it firsthand. So I said I couldn't get it. So when I saw him placing his hand, I knew what he was referring to. So I placed my hand next to me. A Shafi'i came on my left. He saw me putting my hands next to me, so he kept pushing me. So I noticed. So I put my hand. Now one here, one there. Yeah, I did that. Allah guided me. Allah guided me. I had my right hand for the Maliki down, and my left hand for the Shafi'i down. But the problem here is that, after when we went to sujood, I left both of them. I actually left the salah because they're gonna be distracted during salah because of me. The biggest problem, what's more here, the conflict here is what? Is that each side does not see your salah being valid. That's why he's pushing you. If he recognized that you're a different madhab, that's okay. He wouldn't focus. And now he's focusing on your salah, not his salah. Like our sheikh used to always tell us, when you start salah, don't focus on someone's feet. Focus on your own feet. Because people are like, they push you because they want you to get closer, or somebody keeps pulling you closer. That means this person is not focusing on his own salah. He's like watching what people are doing. And even after salah, they'll tell you. The guy told me, why do you keep moving your fingers so much? You distracted me. I said, I don't even see it myself. How did you see it? That means his salah. Not a big deal. Wallahi, I went to a masjid, I'm not going to tell you where, but here in the area. close. Wallahi al-azim, an older man, an older person, طبعا out of respect, he pulled my finger. I was next to him. He in salah, wallahi, he almost broke my finger, wallahi. And I was in high school. Why? Because I was moving my salah as a sunnah, and he believes that you only move it once. Wallahi, in salah, to a point that I felt like, and after salah, he looked at me and I ran away. Of course, I knew if he did that in salah, what is he gonna do after salah? Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to divide like that. Okay, this division that we have upon the ummah today causes the ummah to be weak, causes our enemy to have power over us. We are defeated because we are not together. Okay? Imagine if we're in a battle and someone believes one thing and we're gonna fight each other. And that's why they raise these issues among Muslims, so Muslims could be distracted. One of our mashayikh was asked, and this is very wise. Someone asked him, he said, Ya Shaykh, in our masjid, we have a fight every Ramadan. Taraweeh is 8 rak'ah or 20 rak'ah, 11 rak'ah or 20 rak'ah. What should we do? He said, close the masjid and pray home. They said, what? Taraweeh. He said, because Taraweeh is a sunnah and getting Muslims together is obligatory. So who cares, 8 or 2? 11, everybody has 11 rak'ah or 20 rak'ah. Jazakumullah khair. We shouldn't, the point here, we do not want to divide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He mentioned division, especially among the people who came before us, it led to their destruction. So Allah said, وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً مِّنْهُم. Okay? So He has weakening a group among them. So He did so much to them. And the reason that Fir'aun, by the way, Bani Israel was one of the best nations when it comes to worshiping Allah. But because of their sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them Fir'aun to oppress them. Okay? الذنب يقول بعض العلماء إذا عصاني من يعرفني سلطت عليه من لا يعرفني. If the one who knows me, that's Allah, disobeys me, like you know Allah and you disobey Him, you're a religious person, you're supposed to be a religious person, you disobey Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give power to someone over you who does not know Allah. So He will oppress you. Because if you don't know Allah, this is their problem. Bani Israel, they changed completely. Everything that they were given from their religion, they changed it. And their first fitna was two things: money and women. There was a female in Bani Israel, she was not a good looking at all. What did she do? She put on makeup and she had high heels. And then she walked in the markets of Bani Israel. That's it. She distracted them, even though they knew her before makeup and high heels. It is a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said that. Their first fitna, fin nisa. Okay? That's why sisters are not supposed to wear high heels. Why? Because when they walk, they make sounds. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid women from doing that, so they don't attract the attention when they're walking. And that's why she's not supposed to have perfume on in public places, for example, in our deen. Rasulullah sallallahu forbid that. So anyway, the disobedience of Allah got them to be oppressed. قال يستضعف طائفة منهم. He is oppressing a group of them. What does he do? يذبح أبناءهم ويستحيي نساءهم. He's doing two things. He's killing their sons and letting their females live. Why is that? Fir'aun, there's few stories. Fir'aun heard either a dream that Ibrahim alayhi salam saw, and the people of Bani Israel had this dream interpreted. The dream was that there's a king who's going to come at a specific time. He's going to rule over Egypt. When Ibrahim came to Egypt, you all know the story of Ibrahim in Egypt, yes? No? Okay. Yes? What happened? Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he migrated to Egypt with his wife Sarah, that's why he married Hajar in Egypt. When he got to Egypt, the king of Egypt had a rule. If he liked the women, he will take her. If she is not, no, he will take her if she's the person's wife or a person's sister or or a person's mother. But if she is a person's sister, he would not take her. Don't ask me why. Egypt, man. Egypt is very weird. The kings are weird, not us. So this is the rule. So Ibrahim, when he came and the king saw Sarah, his wife, he said, who is she? So Ibrahim said, my sister. طبعا he meant in Islam, they were the only two Muslims on earth, or three. Ibrahim, Sarah, and Adam. No, Adam is way early. No, Ishaq did not come yet. Ishaq is his son. Lut, his nephew. Lut. There are only three Muslims on earth at that time. On earth. Ibrahim is the religion, his wife Sarah, and his nephew Lut. No one is Muslim yet. So Ibrahim said, she is my sister. He's meaning Islam. So the king says, oh, I changed my constitution. Even if she's your sister, I'll take her. And he took her to a room, and Ibrahim is in the room. And then every time he got closer to her, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his hand paralyzed. Subhanallah. Then he told her, you're a shaitana or something. There's something wrong with you. Can you make dua to your Lord to let go? So she made dua and his hand was free. Then he tried to touch her again. Then he got paralyzed. And 3 times, then he let her go. Anyway, the story. So Ibrahim says, this Egypt that I see today, there's going to be a king who's going to come at a specific time, and this dream. Or the dream was interpreted among Bani Israel. In anyhow. So Fir'aun knew that he is the king who's meant. And this is another evidence that Fir'aun is not God. Because if you're afraid of a child who's going to come to take over your kingdom, how could you be God? That's one. 2, if you were God, wouldn't you know the child? Allah said it will not apply to you. But subhanallah, I don't know what's the word that I want to use. Is it stupidity? Yeah. It is a soldier of Allah sometime that they know something, like the oppressors, and they'll do it. Like they're so stupid. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is leading them to what Allah wants. Fir'aun later, isn't he the one who's going to raise Musa? We all know the story later. He's going to see a basket, he's going to take the baby. Didn't he think for a second, a baby in a basket? He's the guy that I'm looking for. Why would his family place him in a basket into the sea except to escape? But no, khalas. They'll do what Allah wants. It's never what they want. They think the problem is the oppressors or people in power. They think they could do whatever they want. They don't understand. They're doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for them. It's just Allah wants it in a certain way. So regardless, whether you do it this way or this way, it's going to happen the way Allah wants. So Fir'aun said, يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ لا ينفع حذر من قدر. There is no, by the way, precautious but we're supposed to. It will never prevent the qadr of Allah. Subhanallah. You could be in a car with 5 people. May Allah protect you all. Say Ameen. And then the driver there's a car accident. The car you're in. The 4 survives and 1 dies. Someone will be like, oh, he didn't have his seatbelt on. No. He is the only one who had his seatbelt on. So what happened? It's the qadr of Allah. Like no matter what you try to do to prevent the qadr of Allah, it's impossible. It's going to happen anyway. Oh, if I didn't go to class today early, this would not happen. Nope. It would have happened. The qadr of Allah, regardless of what you take, you try to prevent it, you can't prevent the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَالَ وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَهُمْ, and he let the females live. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, that he is among al-mufsideen. Okay? Those wrongdoers or those who cause mischief on earth. قال الله عز وجل وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ. So why is Fir'aun killing all the boys and letting go of all the females? Allah said, وَنُرِيدُ. Listen to this ayah. Remember what we said yesterday? Every ayah connects. He said, and. So what happened? Fir'aun is killing the children, and Fir'aun is causing harm because, and what? وَنُرِيدُ. We want, we wish to favor those who were weak in the land, and to make them rulers and make them the inheritors of what Fir'aun will leave. So Ya Allah, you're leaving Fir'aun to kill the children so they could become rulers. Wallahi, wallahi, this is exactly what's happening in Gaza. Wallahi, this ayah, when you read it, just think of this. Allah is saying, He's killing the children. We're supposed to say what? Why? Ya Allah, they're children. Don't worry about it. I am doing it for a reason. What's the reason? Look at what Allah said. نُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ على الذين استضعفوا. Listen to this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah protects His servant from the harm of dunya like a doctor prevents his patient from certain food. Now, if you go to a doctor and they tell you, مثلا Ahmed, you no longer could eat meat. Is he a good doctor or a bad doctor? Bad doctor, of course. He liked meat. Now I know. We think he's, why? You're stopping me from eating. He's preventing you from meat to save your life. But to me, why am I being prevented? That's exactly what Rasulullah says. Allah would prevent you from something. You might think it's better. You might think it's good. Like a doctor prevents the patient from certain food. When a doctor does that, does he do it because he hates you? No, he does it because he cares for you. Subhanallah. So Allah prevents you from a job, for example. You might be like, why? Why didn't I get this opportunity? The interview went well. You know, because Allah knows if you got that job, you might not pray. You might not give zakah. You might lose your religion. You might fall into a bigger harm. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shifts even your own career. So you become an engineer, you end up being a lawyer. Why? Don't worry about it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preventing you from harm. Okay? Subhanallah, I told you that when I first worked as a AutoCAD, I used to do a lot of drawing. I don't know, AutoCAD still exists? Yeah? Okay. I'm old, kind of. Anyway, I worked with a company, and we used to draw these ships, the big ones. Those, what are they called? Not yachts. The one that they sail, they go like different, what is it called? Cruise ships. So the first one I did, okay, first check I got was $4,000 just for the drawing. So to me at that time, I was homeless. To get $4,000 check for one drawing, that's mashallah. And subhanallah, everything was leading to not work in this field. And I never knew the hikmah of Allah. I knew there's a wisdom, but I was, Ya Allah, I'm gonna work as in a Arabic store to sell like meat and grocery. And now I'm in, like, why am I? Subhanallah, till the day came for the first opening sailing cruise in water. So they said you have to attend as an engineer. So I went. 2 rules. I had to wear a suit, which was my first, well, actually second time in my life. And then you have to cut your beard. So to me, that was a compromise. So I cut my beard a little shorter, which at that time I was like, no, but okay. Anyway, when we got on, subhanallah, an hour later, they start serving alcohol, belly dancers. And I went with the guy, and there's no way to jump. Don't say, why didn't you swim back? The idea here, the point here, the lady she's the guy's wife, never forget. When they introduced, this is the person, this is the person. So they came to me and they said, the guy said he doesn't shake hand. She said, oh, no problem. I didn't do anything. I didn't. We need to leave salah right now. I didn't hug back. My wudu is still valid. The point here came at this moment. See, this is the shifting moment. At this moment in life, you know why Allah is preventing you from this. Why did Allah prevent me so many? Because of this. Because you're gonna keep going, and you might get to a point. The guy who was working that did the interview, he was from Palestine, and he didn't have a problem drinking alcohol because it's a social event. Oh my God. I could have been that person. Don't say I'm strong. No. Don't ever fool yourself. Don't ever say, you know, I wanted this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He prevents you from something, even if it sounds harsh, or even if there is harm in it, don't worry. He's planning something good for you. So that's why we have dua al-istikhara, for example. Why is istikhara in Islam? Istikhara is not to choose what you want. Istikhara is to leave it to Allah to choose between two things that you don't know which one you want. Like for example, I'm interested in someone of getting married. You don't do istikhara. Seriously. You guys, a lot of you say, oh, I did istikhara, I'm okay. What do you mean you're okay? Your dua is, oh Allah, if she's good for me, then bless me with her. And if she's not good for me, make her good, and then I want me to marry her. Like, this is not istikhara. Istikhara is like you're buying two cars, for example. You don't know which one to buy, this brand or this brand. That's istikhara. But if you're set, you already spoke to someone, you're very interested, don't go and pray istikhara. Don't fool yourself. Because you're saying, Ya Allah, keep her, if she's bad for my life and my deen, keep her away. A lot of people, brothers tell me I stop there, I don't say that. So I always say, Ya Allah, if she's good for me, keep her closer. And the other part, inshallah, Allah knows. Because his heart is already attached. So we have to do what? The word Islam means to submit. Submission. We have to learn how to live in submission to the will of Allah. Because His choice for you, His choice for His servant is way better. We're going to read the story of Musa alayhi salam. We're going to read the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam we read. Which one was better for you? Yusuf staying with his father, or Yusuf being taken to Egypt as a slave or going to prison? The story will be, no, let him stay with his father, man. He's a child, poor little kid. But he was thrown into the well, from the well becoming a slave, then he was tempted, and then he was sent to prison. All of this was for what? For him to become the minister of Egypt. Now, if he stayed home with his father, like we wanted, he would have been what? Nobody. He would be like his brothers going to ask for, begging for some help. So Allah made all this journey for him to become a minister? Yes, sir. Rasulullah sallam, we read at the beginning of the surah, if he did not migrate Mecca, what he would have been? Killed. But then he went to Medina, a completely different city. 90% of the Sahaba, of the companions of Rasulullah, they were very sick when they got to Medina, to a point that they felt they will die because of fever. Medina had high fever. Subhanallah, Allah moved him out to Medina. Why? So he could come back to Mecca and spread Islam. So that was good for him? Yes. Did he see that goodness when he was migrating? We don't see what's good for us till it happens. And then we're like, oh, alhamdulillah, I didn't get this job, I got this job. Alhamdulillah, I was in a relationship with someone, and then they're so attached, and they love each other so much, and they cry on the phone day and night, and you tell the sister, this is haram, she's like, I can't leave him, okay? Then they break up. She gets married to someone else. Every time she remembers that guy, she's like, A'udhu billahi min shaitan rajim. Now, A'udhu billahi min shaitan rajim, because you see something better. Well, you didn't see that better. You didn't see it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan for you is the best of plans, because He is the best planner, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa bihamdih. That's why He did what He did to Bani Israel. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah. Walhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Yes, by the way, Salatul Isha. We're going to move Isha tomorrow to 8:45. and the dars will move to 8:15. 8:15, and Isha will be 8:45, inshallah, because the time is getting late, and our neighbors, and we have to pray out.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله